All right, welcome back to another 𝗓𝗁 show. This one is with Andrew Fisher from 𝗚𝗿𝗶𝘀 Networks. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, psyched to have you on. So let's talk through what you're going to be talking about. I know this whole wrapped idea is the first one, but yeah. Give me a little background how you got where you are.
Yeah. So we're doing the Wrapped HNT project at the moment. Myself, I was an app developer for an IoT company before this. So I was making all kinds of different applications for phones. I got into this because I kind of merged my love of crypto and my love of IoT together. With the Wrapped HNT project, I feel like there's a lot of things that HNT is great as far as a communication layer. It can show what we can do in terms of data and sending things across and really monetizing that and turning that into kind of an open source way for everybody to get involved. But the one thing that I think it's kind of stuck is the centralization side of you have to sell it on certain exchanges. You have to, when you want to buy it or anything, there's only a couple different gateways in. So that's kind of what inspired originally the Wrapped HNT project and, kind of decentralizing that entire thing. So
I'm excited. I mean, I've got, so we got two things. Let's talk about what Wrapped is, but definitely I've got this problem you're talking about where Binance.us is not approving a 𝗓𝗁 whatever institutional account.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you're the only place that I can sell HNT. I take payments in HNT. I earn in HNT, like all that stuff. What's going on? They're like, we won't tell you.
Yeah.
But you can't come in.
Yeah. Oh, no,
like,
I had the same issue. 6 months it took me to get my institutional.
Super. So let's start with what is a wrapped token?
Yeah.
Let's start with the basics.
Yeah. So there's multiple ways and multiple different types of wrapped tokens, but probably one of the most famous was the original implementation of wrapped Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is its own token. It's on a ledger. It's on its own network. It doesn't have smart contracts. So there was a company back in the day called BitGo, and they decided they were going to take in Bitcoin, and then they were going to issue a new token, almost kind of like an IOU. So imagine like you're a casino. I give you money. You give me a poker chip. I can trade that money in at any point and get that that poker chip back in and get money back. So essentially, it's almost like an IOU that allows interoperability between different layers and different blockchains. So with Helium, that's very similar. They're there, they can't move. But if we want to use it on somewhere else, if we want to use it on say Ethereum or another network like Phantom or Avalanche or any of Solana, any of these networks, they have to have a way to do that. And so this wrapping kind of enables that by just creating a new token and backing it with the real token, and just kind of creating that trust factor across networks. So essentially,
and is it?
Yeah. So essentially, like think about it like this. So the way that it like kind of works with us is we will have we'll have different wallets associated, right? And it'll be a little bit easier once we go through the demo. You'll kind of understand it a little bit more. But someone will send a transaction, right? And it'll go to a wallet designated by our smart contracts. We will read that transaction that will be custodied in a multi-sig wallet that's held either we're still figuring out exactly who's going to be holding the keys, but it's between Helium or the Helium Foundation or Nova or something and us. So it's a trusted environment between both parties. And then that will be held there until someone wants to redeem. So say you ever, wanted your Helium back, you just basically say, cool, I want to redeem it for my Wrapped HNT. And it always stays there one-to-one on the blockchain. So there's always going to be viewable, wallets that say, this is how much HNT is there. Here's how much Wrapped HNT is there. And they will never really, there will never be any more Wrapped HNT than there is HNT, if that makes sense. So there'll always be.
And I'm
like
sure like gamers and scammers will attack that, but that's like
They'll
the
try.
standard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. God bless him.
Of course.
God bless him.
But yeah, that's the way it goes with a lot of these things. So security's been like, huge.
Is a tough thing. Okay. So, but it's a super cool thing as we think about taking, so I've got 10 HNT. I don't want to go buy a coffee with it or I don't know, an NFT with it.
Yeah.
I can take that 10 HNT, buy the Wrapped HNT from 𝗚𝗿𝗶𝘀 Networks. Is that what the...
imagine it kind of not necessarily buying it. Imagine it as it's yours, you basically we don't actually hold it ourselves. It's in a custodial wallet between us and some like I said, another party, which will be either Nova or Helium Foundation or something. But essentially, it will just you'll send a transaction. You're not necessarily buying anything. It's just saying, okay, cool, this is here, and it holds it there, almost in like a state where it can't be touched, can't do anything with it. And then it issues you on your MetaMask or on your, whatever other wallet that you're using. It will issue that directly to that wallet. So it's like a one-to-one trade, kind of. But it's not actually, but it's not actually trade. So it's actually minting it directly to your wallet. So there's no transfer. There's no, exchange in terms of like an actual exchange.
Oh yeah. So it's like a similar thing with a bunch of money I just lost. Is I had all these Lux tokens, and Lux would generate wrapped ETH.
Yeah.
And so I'd look in the wallet and be like, oh, there's whatever, point something wrapped, WETH is how I thought of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can always trade the WETH in for ETH. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So it's cool. Same exact thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Ripping. Well, that's pretty exciting. And then there's got to be some kind of business side in it for you. Is like every time there's a transaction.
Yeah. So we're trying to keep
your wallet take some small percentage.
Yeah. So it's, like I said, I conceptualized this a long time ago. It's something that I would have used. I was big into the DeFi space. So, there's a bunch of applications that I can just think of offhand for a wrapped token with the Ethereum or with the Helium community in general. One is me as a believer in the Helium network. Like, I don't really want to sell my tokens. There's tons of platforms on all these different chains that Avalanche and Phantom and Ethereum stuff, where you have these platforms that you can borrow against your assets, right? So Helium being a great asset, if I wanted to bet on my network and I wanted to bet on the work that we were doing, and I wanted to collateralize some of that and didn't want to sell it, I wanted to ride that wave. It'd be great to have a lending market. It'd be great to have a place that I could sell it on a decentralized exchange. Places I could stake it.
Oh, right.
There's
so you can make more than you can make with a validator.
Exactly.
Which is like 5%.
Exactly. There's all kinds of different.
So cool.
There's all kinds of different things that you could do with it, right? You could lend it out. I was thinking just in terms of like host management and stuff like that. If we have smart contracts, I could tell any one of my hosts and say, hey, what do you want to be paid out in? And they say, what do you mean? It's like, well, you can mine anything. Like, I can issue a low slippage, like swap, contract into your smart contract and pay my hosts out in Bitcoin. And they could just receive that and wrapped Bitcoin in their wallet, or they could receive Ether in their wallet and use their Helium miner to get Ether. There's all kinds of different possibilities once you enable smart contracts to allow people to pretty much do whatever they want, with their assets.
That's pretty rad. So someone's they're mining HNT, but they're getting paid in Ethereum.
Yeah. Or stable coins.
Okay.
Or dollars,
okay.
Anything you want. Essentially, if you have enough liquidity in the market and you can, kind of justify that, it makes sense,
Okay. That's radical. So this enables what I think of as one of the kind of upcoming, I don't know, like killer apps, but it's like an escrow service.
Yeah.
Where you're thinking of, okay, and very specifically for the manufacturers, when they start to onboard hotspots, we're discussing, and I think this is all public, we're discussing how do you do, what do we call it? It's like staked hotspot onboarding. So for every hotspot they onboard, they've got to pay some certain amount in a staking pool into a pool. And if all their hotspots are not found to be gaming after a year, they get their money back. And if not, but it's like, where does that money go? Where does that sit? And right now there's not a trusted escrow piece.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing when you buy or sell a hotspot. Like, it's all on trust right now. You're just trusting some person on eBay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and a lot of that stuff. People that's one of the things that we want to do is once it's over there, right? Once it's on these other chains and there's smart contract ability there, developers can build pretty much anything that they want on top of it. Like if you have Wrapped HNT over there now, you can say, okay, cool, I want to build an escrow service. I want to build a hotspot marketplace where people can just transfer these keys back and forth, and until they have proof or what, you can create smart contracts around that. So totally. There's all kinds of cool stuff that people can build once that's available,
That's pretty exciting.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that's super exciting. Cool.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about later, but let's rewind back to a beginning and talk about, how did you find Helium? How did you come in?
Yeah. So I was actually on the other mining side of it. I was on Ethereum mining. I was I built those machines and I was turning that into a company. And then the global pandemic hit and the smart contract, or not the smart contracts, the big shortage of parts came into effect, right? And so all of my GPUs, all of my mining equipment, I was going to be building modular shipping containers and shipping them wherever power was cheapest, into places that was eco-friendly, etc. But we couldn't get any parts. So like I said, I was working for an IoT company at the time. I saw Helium and I was like, this is super cool. We could use this on our devices. Like if we can just get our data use down, this would be perfect, because they used, at the time, they were using a lot of cloud AI. They needed a lot of connectivity. But I was like, if we can get this on chain, or on device, we could do a lot of cool stuff. So I bought like 6 or 7 devices or so, and I was like, I'm just going to put these up and see how they did.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it took a while to get them, but my first 2 builds were pretty crazy. I think I actually looked at one of your first tutorials, and I built 2 off-grid solar miners. Were my first 2 Helium miners here in Southern California. Put those up on top of mountains, and from there I was hooked. And I created Noble Networks Incorporated, and found a place. We did a little bit different than I think a lot of people do. We saw, the need for hosts, et cetera. People liked it as a form of, passive income. But, at the same time, we didn't have, we didn't want to compete with, mailing these things out with all these big guys that were fighting over that same customer. So we took it a little bit differently. We found a small town that had no coverage at all, that had a bunch of use cases kind of built into it. It's a little, 10,000 person town, bloats to around 400,000 in the summer. It's a big tourist location. So I was like, Is
it a top secret place?
No, it's no. You can check it out. You can see our units all over. It's down in the southern Jersey Shore. At the time, there was nothing out there, and we built out pretty much the entire. We built out pretty much most of the network. I'd say like probably 80% of the network down there in that little area is us. But we started finding hosts, started finding hotels, started finding all these different places, and built a network of around, I think at the moment it's around 175 hotspots locations out there. And found just homeowners that had no idea what Helium was or what IoT was or anything. And that was kind of the thing that set it apart a little bit. So we started that, and then like I said, this could have been a tool that I could have used. So I was like, we have to create this because nobody else is going to do it.
Right. And the, I guess, interesting piece about you deploying hotspots then and there was that you had this IoT background, which a lot of us didn't have before we found Helium.
A little bit.
I found Helium. It's like, IoT, what's that? Like, I know what it stands for. I don't know what it is. And then ended up, reading millions of internet pages about it, buying books and all the rest of it. But you kind of came in. So when you were talking to your hosts and explaining Helium, would you include any of the IoT stuff in there? Or was it more a transactional
I did.
thing?
Well, no, it was a little bit of both. So the area that I was, pitching, a lot of them have a really, really, they have a really complicated issue around nuisance flooding. So that was like my kind of selling point in the beginning. Is I wanted to create. I'd seen these little depth transducers, these pressure transducers that were really, really cool, but all of the solutions that I could find that were professional grade were all either Wi-Fi or or Bluetooth or some other solution. But it's a perfect thing for LoRa. And so I was like, this is kind of a cool thing. They have a major issue with flooding out here. And a friend of mine at the time, he was writing for the New York Times. So he did a whole story on the South Jersey Shore and how they have to, have these reports done every 4 years or so by these scientists that they come out and they put these transducers down there, and it's this big labor-intensive thing. So I was like, man, we could do that with Helium. We could really, install these transducers kind of on a little solar, LoRa transceiver. And if I have 90%, 100% coverage across the island, they could have real-time data monitoring, and they could find out where the weak points in their infrastructure are, and they could find out this, and they could find out that. So that was kind of, what I was originally going for out there. And that's what we're working on now that we have the network kind of built, is, working with those municipalities and trying to get that up and running. So
cool. So you're still going. You're still saying like, we're going to deploy these things and use them.
Oh yeah. That's I mean, I think that's a long-term goal, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you get these different places not hooked on it. I don't want to say hooked, but you show the ease and the usability of all this stuff. And if you can get the governments and the just companies using it, it's going to trickle down to the consumers. That's usually how it goes. They usually start with the industrial, and commercial applications and government applications. And then once it becomes available, everybody just starts using it. It just needs someone to build it.
And how did you open those conversations up? Did you just call like, where's the mayor's office in the yellow pages? I don't think anyone uses the yellow pages anymore.
Yeah.
Or did you have like some kind of interconnect already?
A little bit of both. It's a really small town. So I had some friends there. Like I said, or I didn't say it, but my wife's family, they lived there for like 20 years. So they had a house there. But they had, I ended up working at this co-working space, and the owner of the co-working space, she was around our age. She was just like, hey, like, let's, I've got, I'm on this board for, the city to help rejuvenate it. And so she started making a few introductions, but yeah, I mean, it's just half the time I was just cold calling. I just kept cold calling the different offices and saying like, I need to talk to this person. I'm going to keep calling. It's going to be really cool. And I know you guys are already working on flood, issues already. So why not add my stuff into the mix? So yeah, still in a work in progress, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's fun to figure out what people's problems are and then how do you solve them. And is Helium the best case? Sometimes it's the best solution. Sometimes it's not. But a lot of times it seems to be.
Yeah, I mean, and just even small things. Like there's, like I said, that's kind of why we chose that location in the first place. Was we looked at like topography. We were like, okay, this place is super flat. They've got a flooding issue, so they've got lots of tall houses that are 4 stories tall. Yep. There's a bunch of places that want to make extra money because they're renting it out. It's mostly rental properties everywhere. And then, I mean, there's cool use cases. There's, like I said, 400,000 people there. There's so many bike shops that are, renting these things out, that the number one problem in that city when it comes to theft or like any issues with the police is stolen bikes. So like these rental houses, you could just put a tracker on every one. You'd never have hey, police, go over to, this house. They've got 30 of my bikes.
Now, have you talked to the local PD and said, hey, this is what's coming down? Like, are you guys interested in whatever?
I've chatted with him a little bit. Actually, our next door neighbor in the town there, he's a police officer. He's also a fisherman. So he was actually more interested in, tracking his clam pots and, all these different conch pots and stuff like that out in the ocean. So I gave him a couple trackers to go ahead and start using it and trying to test it out. But
did you see the crab pots that were just recovered using Helium?
I sent him that link. He's like, I've got friends that have conch pots out in he's like, I want to give me a couple. I'll test it out. So I gave him a couple sensors to put out there and try to start using it to see, what we could come.
That's a rad thing. I think I was on a call with Jameson this morning, the guy who runs the crab thing. His hair's all wet. And you want to ask him like, dude, were you already out in the boat this morning? You're coming back in and firing it up.
Yeah.
It's funny. Okay. So, I mean, you're like the classic example of what I would like to see as a Helium business is you start with a couple hotspots, you deploy them, you get excited about earning Helium, and then you figure out, okay, this thing has to get used. And then you start building out use cases and, looking for and finding the groups that you have to work with in order to have a long-term business, right? Because fairly clearly deploying Helium hotspots is not going to be a great long-term business on its own forever, right? Be pretty good, but it's not what everybody wanted it to be a year ago.
Yeah.
Everybody thought it would be a year. The funny thing is I was just reading some Bitcoin book. I've got it back in the bookshelf. And I think it's like Mastering Bitcoin by Antonopoulos. And he's saying like every mining project, the whole point is that the number of coins goes down that you get as the mining gets harder. Yeah. It's like, well, if they were writing that back in whatever it was, 2009, 2013, like how are we still having this misunderstanding problem where we think these coins are going to flow like this forever?
Yeah, well, and that's I think that's the wrong metric. I think people look at the wrong metric when it comes to that because over, just looking at crypto in general, the long term, plays of most of these coins, they go up in value. I said, profitability gets less and less. There's less being generated, but that's what makes a lot of time them go up. Is the difficulty in getting them, the difficulty in trying to acquire them. That's what's going to, help that network,
It's interesting. I mean, do you have any, I'll put you on the spot here. Do you have any predictions about where HNT is going to be in the next, 1 to 5 years?
I was reading some crazy stuff the other day. I was reading a couple different reports, and some of these reports, they were from reputable places. Some of them were talking about, in 5 years' time, they had a really, really aggressive approach, but they were saying, $860 HNT in 5 years. And I'm like, that's insane. That's awesome. Like, I would love for that to happen. Do I think it'll happen? It maybe. Who knows? But maybe. But I think that it'll be a lot more than it is today. I was hoping for $100 by the end of the year. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's gonna
Yeah, I mean, we
surprise
kissed
a lot of
60
people.
last year.
Yeah, I think it's gonna surprise a lot of
Yeah.
people. And then
Yeah.
they
I
won't
always
be
tell
they won't
people
be complaining about it as much. I think there'll be another run on hotspots. A lot of people will be like, "Oh, this is awesome again," and then there's going to be another run for
Yeah.
more hotspots.
It is. And are you positioning kind of for that at all, or is that more like, hey, we've deployed our hotspots, we're moving hard into use of the network in this wrap
No,
thing?
actually, no. So the wrap thing, that was, like I said, just out of necessity. I was from my standpoint, it's like I just want to be able to pay my host. It's going to simplify a lot of the stuff because I could just pay them in stable coins,
Yep.
and send it to a coin. If they want a Coinbase account and they want to make it easy, I can just send them a Coinbase US whatever stable coin USDC and say, here, like, here's your money. It's in dollars. You didn't want to deal with crypto. That's fine. You can use a credit card, little debit card. You can use it whenever you want, or you can transfer it. Just trying to make it user friendly.
Yeah.
But
that's rad. Now, I'm wondering what the tax implications are. Like, so you're on the hook.
So I actually,
So
I actually, with our hosts, we 1099 everybody. I mean, we calculate it at the time it's earned. We just 1099 everybody. I don't think we'd have any issues in terms of that, because at that point, I know with the tax laws and the transferring and stuff like that, we're not actually transferring anything really out, if that makes sense. We're transferring to the custodial wallet that's owned by multiple parties, right? But they're just getting minted something new, right? So in their respect, they're getting something new, and then they're going to be taxed at whatever that is, just like they would normally be. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be too crazy, but it's something to think about.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of this stuff,
we've had a
the lawyers we've been talking to, they're like, a lot of the stuff, it's just not there yet. Like the infrastructure is not there to handle it. So, we're going to do as long as you do your due diligence, and can justify why things were done this way, most of the time we'll be okay. That's not any advice for anyone.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. We've got a couple tax folks who've come on their crew calls, and there's a bunch of stuff. It's like, oh, it could be pretty bad, but if you can just justify why you're doing what you're doing, you should be okay. Even if you turn out to be wrong, as long as you got the 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get off taxes because God, people have heard enough about that. Sorry, sorry to take us down that trail. So let's do. Do you want to walk me through how this thing looks or works or whatever?
Yeah, we've got a rough demo. This is very, very alpha, or if not beta. But if you pull up here, I can pull up this link real quick. One moment.
Yeah, and let me know if you can't share your screen. We'll sort it out.
Good. Let me this up real quick.
The magic should happen.
Yeah. Screen. Here we go. Magic is happening, it looks like. I'm just going to share the entire thing. There we go. There we are.
Okay.
Multiple.
I am seeing something come up.
There we go.
There's a lot of us. Cool.
So this is just a very simple demo, and I can kind of walk through how some of this works. But this is something we put together just for beta. Again, people use it at your own risk. This does not connect anything to actual HNT at the moment. This is all on testnet.
Yep.
If people want to mess around with it, feel free to go ahead and try it out. They'll need a testnet wallet with the new Helium wallet app, and they'll need some sort of MetaMask wallet with a 𝗱𝗏 on the 𝗱𝗏 testnet. But right now, basically, it's pretty simple. We just determine what we want to send. So if I want to send 1,337 TNT over to my MetaMask wallet, all I'll do is basically what's happening is we're utilizing the memo. So the memo in the Helium transaction, we generate that based off the hash of the MetaMask wallet address and the block time, or the timestamp. So it generates, if you look up in this top corner here, this is a randomized thing that is unique to this wallet specifically and the time.
Yep.
So if I have my Helium wallet app here, all I have to do is hit send, and this will show the screen. Just do the QR code right here, and all I have to do is scan this QR code at the bottom. And so essentially what is happening is this. Let me see if I go back here to my app. If you can see here on the app, this has everything preloaded in. So all the user is going to have to do is hit pay and then swipe to send it. And so once they send it off, that will be sent. So that's pretty much it. The next thing that's going to happen is on our we have a few services running in the background, and they do a couple things. We have one that's a Helium follower that follows the Helium blockchain.
So we're still looking at your screen.
Oh yes, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm going to move this thing over
okay.
here real quick so you can actually see what it's doing.
Yep.
Right here.
Yeah, I know sometimes on these things, it's like you forget which screen you're sharing and what it looks like and all the rest of it.
Yeah. You see.
One guy one time was like, he was talking to us, or he was listening to something, and I could see on the screen he's doing something totally different. I'm like, oh, you sly son of a gun, but you don't know what's going on.
Yeah. No, it's like, doesn't seem to be working here. Oh, let me see. That's why. Hold on one second. Broken pipe here.
Sure.
Get in here. There we are. So that's what was wrong. Okay. Let me see here. There we go. So,
cool.
So we have one thing that's basically, this is following the Helium blockchain. So what this will do is once that testnet account is actually sent through, it's going to be looking for that that memo, and so that memo is what ties it to the MetaMask wallet. So it's actually just sitting here scanning that wallet. That's the custodial or semi-custodial wallet, and it is looking for that memo. And once it finds that memo, then it's adding it to, it has we have this thing called a bridge validator, not to confuse with the regular validators. We actually have a bridge validator, and those are going to be set up by different community members that put towards like a stake. And that will be validated across multiple parties. That's part of the decentralization in it, is we don't want to be the only person that's responsible for that ledger. So we're going to have different parties kind of validating that transaction. And part of what you were talking about before was like a fee, right? We're going to try to keep those fees as small as possible. But we need them to be just significant enough to where half of those fees go towards a pool, right? For these validators, so that they get to split that. It's almost kind of a new way of mining HNT. Right. And then the other half would go towards a portion of the half would go towards an insurance fund just for security, just because if there's ever anything that, there's a way that there's a exploit or something, we have a way to somewhat, make the community whole and do that. Other than our regular insurance. But and on the other end, it's going to be helping update costs and stuff like that for our servers and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a split model. But those will be validated through here. And then we have
okay, hang on a second. I got questions about these validators. So is what does it cost to run one, and how much do they make, and what's the technical?
We don't know yet. So that's one of the things we're not sure yet. We haven't gotten all of the economics finished on that side of it yet. We're still working on that just to make sure that it's worth it enough to whoever puts one up. But it'll most likely just be something like, a simple AWS server. It's not too intensive, like data intensive, so it won't be too crazy, but it has to be, obviously good enough to keep the speed, etc. So that'll come to some sort of consensus. And then we have an EVM monitor that does the same thing on the other side, watches for these transactions, and then mints it to the blockchain. So, actually, you can kind of see, let's see if I have here, did I get one? Sorry, I'm going to try to find where this thing is.
Right. So like the mechanics of it, if I'm understanding, is that there's these two machines watching the blockchain to see what transactions are popping up, and they're looking for this memo, whatever the unique code is on that memo, to register XYZ to this other piece.
Yeah, exactly. And so as soon as it finds that value, I'm gonna jump off this because I'm not as familiar as my dev on that side of it, on the actual monitor. But basically what's going to be happening is it's going to be looking for that memo. It finds the memo. And as soon as it finds it and the validators kind of come to a consensus that, yes, this is a real transaction, then it will mint that token to that blockchain. So it checks it on both sides and it mints it to that blockchain, makes sure it's finalized, and then that transaction is over. And on the opposite way, it'll do the same thing. It'll kind of destroy that transaction, or it'll destroy those tokens on that side. It'll burn that token. They will input their Helium address and it will send it to that Helium address. And once it's finalized, then it finalizes the transaction on both. So it's kind of just like a one for one, like
Yeah.
it's cool. And it's really fun to see it, come through and actually be working over here. But yeah, I sent 1337. So I'm gonna sit here and we can chat, but I'm gonna share this screen again actually one more time and just make sure that we can watch this transaction. I'm gonna just refresh it every once in a while and we'll see when this comes through. I know with the testnet and all the stuff they've been doing on it, it's a little slow, but
yeah, it's maybe less reliable than we'd like.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
I know you'd sent 13. You'd sent some amount of, I don't know, was it TNT? Over to my wallet so I could look at it, and I think I saw it in my wallet.
Yeah, so it is working. So it says that my payment cleared less than a minute ago. So I'd say like probably within 3 minutes we should see that wrapped token here in the MetaMask account. So we can.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we'll be able to see it within a couple minutes. But yeah, so I mean, I've been doing this back and forth with the different asset. I can send, I've sent over, I think, 14,000 or so back and forth now. Okay. But yeah, it'll come in as Wrapped HNT, and a lot of that too is, next is just going to be able to get other platforms on board. Go to these different DeFi.
Yeah, and TNT is that's testnet token.
Yeah, the TNT. Yeah. So.
And so for folks who are watching this and kind of seeing this for the first time, I know that I've seen it a little bit before, just kind of watching the mod stuff, is I'd never had any idea this stuff existed, but there's a whole different test blockchain. And on that test blockchain there's this TNT, this testnet token versus HNT.
Yeah.
And so they'll use that to figure out a lot of this stuff. So when you're looking at this, like, dude, where do I get TNT? Do I go and buy some? Like, no, they give it to you. And what is it? It comes from a faucet or something, like all this new stuff.
Yeah, there's a website called it's at 𝗱cie 𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗔.helium.wtf. And right now, I believe that it's offline because they're doing stuff with the testnet, and obviously they're messing with the light hotspot stuff. But if they go there,
they're testing.
Yeah, exactly. They're testing it. So if you go there and you open up your wallet, like I said, this one too. In order to create a testnet wallet on the new Helium app, you actually have to have a wallet linked. You have to either create one or have one already set up, and then you can go into your settings and you can connect to testnet. So that's one caveat.
Right. So there's two separate wallets. There's like a brand new Helium wallet and then a brand new MetaMask wallet.
Yes. So
I think
you can use any MetaMask wallet you want. You just have to make sure that you're connected to the Kovan testnet.
That's right. And I just got, I think you know this, I just got so burnt on crypto. I'm like, I'm starting brand new wallets for everything. And every time I see something new like this, it's exciting. I'm starting a new wallet for it. And I don't care if I've got a million different 12, 24 word phrases.
That's
you need to get kicked in the nuts once to learn that
lesson. I've done this. I've gotten burned on a couple of those things in the past. Just, they're very clever when it comes to that stuff. So it's just, it's not fun. But yeah, so any MetaMask wallet. And then, like I said, just make sure you create a Helium testnet. You can see it's very blatant when you actually create the testnet because it will have big yellow lines across it, big gates that Helium puts there on purpose. So you're working in testnet. Once you have that set up, you can come over here to our site and just, our little demo and mess around with it and, send back some TNT. And it'll kind of help us too, because we'll be able to see it, and test it.
Dig it. Yeah, so you're 1490 in there.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah, we have
15,527.
So yeah, it came through.
What's the 1337 connection?
1337, it's an old gamer hacker thing. It was like elite status. So it was LEET, LEET, or 1337. It was just this, it's just this old, LEET speak thing. So I just use it for every single one of my test transactions usually.
One more thing I didn't know. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's old school.
All right, I like it. I never got into that gaming stuff. This is all the whole thing is new to me, but certainly I missed out on a whole world.
Yeah, no, this is actually, I'll show you this too. So if you look in here, you can actually see. So you can see the transactions coming through. If you look at the ERC20,
I'm not seeing what you're seeing yet. I'm still seeing the app.
Oh, it actually. Sorry, let me see. That's because I didn't go to it in it. go to, let me just add this website here. But you can kind of go to our contracts. Let me put them up on the 𝗀𝗏 testnet. Once you like mess around with it, you can go and see the different transactions. This is actually my test wallet here. But yeah, you can see 1 minute ago, this comes from here, and this is all the information, like, that it's interacted with this contract. This contract is our, Wrapped HNT contract. And you can kind of see different requests going through it. Yeah, you can go on there if you search WTNT, I think it is, inside of, you can see Wrapped testnet Helium.
Ooh,
and
fancy.
you can come into the 𝗀𝗏 Etherscan and kind of see the different holders and how many transfers have gone through on testnet and stuff like that, and kind of see your own stuff go through there as soon as you send it. So,
right, I see your 1337s in there.
2 minutes ago, there it is.
Yeah.
So yeah,
very cool. Okay.
So yeah, anyone can mess around.
Nice.
But there's a lot more.
Ripping.
There's a lot more that we're going to be, introducing past the bridge. The bridge is just the beginning of it, but we want to create tools that the Helium community can use. Stuff that I would have wanted, right? I wouldn't have liked to sell a lot of my HNT, back in the day when it was, $1, and to buy more equipment, etc. So we're trying to work on ways that'll help people to do different stuff.
Yeah, let's hit on that, because we had this Kevin in the chat had asked about that, saying that he wished he could have used his HNT to wrap it and then borrow against it so he can pay the 2021 tax bill, right? Which is a problem for a lot of us in varying degrees. Yeah. So that's something that I could do. Is if I've got whatever 100 HNT, I should be able to when this thing goes live.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of different platforms, right, that give out like collateralized lending. So that's an easy thing for someone to do. As soon as there's a token there that's worth a value that they say, okay, cool, this is something that we can borrow against, right? And if you can get it on these platforms, which is some of the things that we're trying to do is get them on some of these platforms that are trusted, where we can say, cool, I've got I'm a host, and I don't want to spend my HNT, especially right now, because obviously at the price point it's at right now, I want to bet on myself. I'm going to buy a bunch of equipment. Well, I don't have the money for the equipment yet, or I don't want to take out a traditional loan. I'm going to take out a loan, where I collateralize my earnings, my HNT, and I'm going to put up, this many, whatever HNT, and I'm going to borrow this much money, and I'm going to buy my equipment with it. And then as HNT goes up, I'm just going to watch that value and make sure that it doesn't drop below a certain value. And now I have that cheap loan that I have paid, essentially nothing on, so that type of stuff is going to be super powerful for everybody.
DeFi 101. Are you still sharing your screen? It keeps blinking on me.
Sorry. I think I was. Let me turn it off, because I don't.
You don't have.
I don't have much else to.
If there's nothing there,
it's just the contract.
Cool. Yeah, it's neat to see that stuff happen in real time, and it's good for folks to be able to go and kind of check that out themselves. And depending on how geeky you are, you can get way into it or just kind of watch from the sidelines.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be. I'm excited to see people start messing around with it, and like I said, that link, it should be up and online. If it ever is offline, it's not working, we're probably working on it, doing something. But that's one of the places that we do our live testing on the testnet. So anyone who wants to check it out, feel free.
What are some of the things aside from borrowing? Actually, no. Let me ask the first question: is when do you think it'll be live? Like, when's this going to be ready?
So we're trying to get it out as soon as possible. Obviously, with security and everything. I mean, from the beginning, we kind of had a security standpoint on it that we didn't want to. I don't want to be liable for everyone's HNT. I don't want to be liable for any sort of issues. So we've been really, really diligent with. We hired a blockchain security firm to do like weekly code audits, et cetera, like throughout the entire building process. And they've had, experience on pretty much any modern bridge that's out there. They've had a hand in, making it secure. So we're trying to work with them. We're looking at a time frame, maybe 2 months, at least to like a public beta that people can go on and start doing. There's a few other things that we have to look at, because in terms of like a new token, right, or any sort of token that's on these things, we just want to make sure that certain things are in place. One of them has to be liquidity, because if there's no liquidity on the market and someone tries, we have to have partners set up to where this is where, we have this partner that's, you can trade it here at the moment, until it saturates the entire market. But we have to get those things in place so that, there's not a lot of price fluctuation and, people are getting burned on, I go in here to sell 50 of my HNT and I just sold it at $2, so we don't want that stuff to happen. So, those things have to be in place. So we're going to take a little bit more of a conservative approach on that, but I'm hoping, within the next couple months that we can get something out that people can start using, if not like a private beta, for some people to start using it.
Cool. So it's May 18th today is when we're recording this. So June, July. Yeah. So July 18th, July 19th, 100% this thing's going to be live. Everything's perfect.
I hope so.
No questions asked.
I hope so.
Let's see how anything could possibly go wrong.
Yeah. No, I hope so.
Let's see. I'm seeing a question in the chat. What's the URL again? Was it the Helium?
So if they go to WHNT dot, actually I could put it here in the chat for you. WHNT.𝗪𝗵𝘁 dot app. I think that is it right there. If they go there, cool. They should be able to mess around with it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a good start. And then, well, that's pretty exciting stuff. So a couple months, we'll have this wrap piece.
Yeah.
And then is there any other kind of project or thing that you're working on, or this is taking up the entire?
No. So I've got a team of developers. We actually were kind of split up. So me and my co-founders and stuff, I'm here in Los Angeles. I keep traveling back to the East Coast to deploy along with them. And then they're out there deploying most of the time. And then I've got, like I said, a team of developers up in Seattle they're working mostly on the bridge project at the moment. So we're kind of all over, but no, we're working on this. We're working on a couple sensor projects that we hope in the future. I hope I can talk about those more. Those are going to be a lot of fun. I was going
to say, what are they? Tell me all about these sensor projects.
I would love to. Actually, they're going to be down near you, down in San Diego. So some of them, cool. if they work out, I would love to, we could chat about it and kind of, I'm going to need people down there. I know there's a pretty decent Helium community down there, but I'm going to have to be contracting some of these guys to come and help because it's going to be a pretty big thing if we get it.
Cool.
But yeah.
God knows there's I think I was looking because we're doing this Helium meetup that's coming up in San Diego. So one that you're coming to on Tuesday, and we have no idea how many people are coming, but I do know that there's about 8,000 hotspots in San Diego, and there's about 38,000 up in the LA area.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm really curious about the communication that is going to eventually have to start happening to every hotspot. Like if you have a hotspot, there's going to have to be some kind of app piece to it that makes it really easy for a hotspot owner to connect to any other hotspot owner in the same way that chat or email or text is easy.
Yeah, I know that.
Like to activate that community.
Yeah, I know that that's obviously like the hotspotty guys, they've been trying to, a lot of different people have been trying to do it like in certain ways, right? Discord and messages and stuff like that. It's really difficult. I would love that because, if I could message one of these people and say, hey, move over, or don't, it might not be the right spot. You just picked a little bit too close. Like, you're off by 5 meters, whatever it is. But just to help people, the collaboration.
We're just saying like, hey, I've got a spot for you that's going to be way better.
Yeah, exactly. That type of stuff. That's one of the things that we were looking into as well. Is like, I know there's a lot of people that are having issues. They're being like kind of put off to the earnings, and they're getting disheartened a little bit. So some of that stuff. I think that we're going to have to collaborate in that way somewhat. One of the things that I know we're trying to do, we haven't launched it yet with the Noble Networks, build outside yet, but it's just like almost like a buyback program where like if somebody felt they bought a bunch of stuff and they said, hey, this isn't for me, I don't really want to do this. Like we'll buy the cost of, the miner, essentially what it is, pay it over a couple months, and then we'll give them 10% forever. Let them take some percentage of it, so different people, different things. So like cool. Stuff like that, we're going to try to do just because, there's places that we can utilize them. And I know that some people are just kind of, what they're earning, they'd probably be earning the same, if not more, with our setup. So.
Oh, interesting. I hadn't thought about that. So you can, whatever, you find a national park.
Yeah.
That doesn't have any hotspots. And you're like, well, I'll just put hotspots everywhere and I get them relatively cheaply. And then that person earns 10% off those hotspots and you get the coverage and 90%, like pretty much everyone wins. That's right.
Yeah. So, it's something we're going to be starting up. So it'd be, I don't know. there's just different ways for people to earn. You know what I mean? And I think that if we spread it around and we keep that community growing like that, it'll be kind of a cool thing. It'll be kind of like the buyback programs for phones. You know, they stick the phone and they have the mailer and they send it off. It'll be something similar to that. But yeah,
that's very cool. That's super cool. All right, dig it. That should probably wrap it up. Is there anything else before we sign off? I think we did the Wrapped NT. We did the most fascinating. Well, they're all fascinating, but I think it's super cool to see someone coming in from the deployment and IoT side. That's awesome. Is there anything else that you want to hit before we sign off?
No, the only other thing is I would say, we have I know that everybody's dying to, join another Discord community, but we do have one up. So, check out our Twitter, Wrapped HNT.
Okay.
We've got a Discord link on there. So if people want to get involved, if they want to do something, feel free to come on in and say what up. We'll answer any
and it's
questions.
just at Wrapped HNT on Twitter?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe it's. I'm just
something
double
like
checking.
That, like just use Google.
Exactly.
Skills.
It's twitter.com/wrapped. Yep, Wrapped HNT.
All right, cool. Guys nailed it. Ripping.
Cool, man.
Well, thanks, Andrew. Thanks for coming on and going through that stuff. I'm really excited about what you're doing, and I'll be keeping an eye on it. And I may not be the very first customer, but I should be in the top 10.
Awesome. Awesome. Can't wait, man.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.